Let us try to solve the exercise number 5 in the part B of C programming lab. In this exercise, we are supposed to create a file called as number, and we are supposed to store the integer numbers into this particular file. And then we have to read the contents which are stored in this file and separate out the even and odd numbers and store the odd numbers in the odd.txt file and the even number in the even.txt file. Finally, we have to display the content of all the three files, namely the number.txt, the odd.txt, and the even.txt. So let's go ahead and let's create a C program. I have with me the code block opened, and I'm going to go to the toolbox over here, and in the toolbar I have the option for new file. I'm going to just click on the new, and I'm going to select the file. So I have the new file with me. I will select the C++ source and then click on go, and then click on the next, and then select the C as my program, and then finally click next. And here I'm going to click on the three ellipses. It will open me a select file name dialog box in which I'm going to save the file name. Now you know very well you are supposed to store it in the proper location, either in the D drive or Z drive or any other location. First go to that location and then try to save it. Now here I'm going to save this file as even odd. You can give any name for this particular file. So I'm going to give the name as even odd.c. Then click save. So this is where I'm going to store my file, and I'm going to just click finish. Now if I go to that location where I have this file, that is sample.c, where I have stored the file, I have one C program, that is the same program which I opened over here. This is the same even odd.c. This is the file that is there in my sample C. This is the location where I'm storing this particular file. As usual, any C program will start with the include stdio.h. So I'm going to start with that stdio.h. Again, this is the general case. You may not, if you are not directly reading or writing or doing some processing, you may not require this include file, but generally we include this file. And I'm going to use the void so that I don't have to type the return statement at the end. Now, since we are going to use three different files, namely the number.txt, the odd.txt, and the even.txt, three different files, I'm going to use three different pointers for these files. So I will first start the file structure, and then I'm going to use the star first pointer. I'm going to call this as the first file as the file pointer number 1, that is for the number.txt. So for this file I'm going to use the pointer fp1, and similarly the fp2 and fp3 for the three different files. So this is the fp1, and then one more pointer for the fp2, and one more pointer for fp3. So three different things. Now, what is that I am supposed to do is I am supposed to create a file called as a number.txt. So I have to create a file called as a number.txt. In this, I am supposed to store the integer number like 45, 67, 34, some numbers. Okay. Now, how many numbers I am going to store? That is, what is the total number of integer values that I am going to store? That I have to first get it from the user, and naturally individual numbers. These things I have to get it from the user. So I'm going to create a few integer variable. First one is for the total. That is a total number of integer that I'm going to store, and individual integers I'm going to refer them as n. And because I'm going to use the for loop, so I need a control variable that I'm going to use it as I. Let me use a printf statement, and I'm going to say printf, and I'm going to ask the user enter the total number. This is this total number that I'm referring to is the total number of integer that I'm going to store. So this is, suppose if you have this file, let me say number.txt. So this is the file number.txt. How many integer values I'm going to store? So like suppose if I have, this is the one integer number, this is the second integer number, this is the third integer number, this is the fourth integer number, this is the fifth integer number. So totally, if you look at here, totally I have 5 integer number, and that is what I'm referring here. So what is the total number of integers that you are going to store in that file? So that I'm going to store it in this variable, that is the total variable. Here I'm going to store it. So how do I do that thing is I'm going to use a scanf statement as usual, and I'm going to say scanf percentage, where is a percentage d, and I'm going to use ampersand total, not this one, total, to store the total number. Then I'm going to ask the user, okay, so if the user says total number is 5, then I'm going to ask the user, and I'm going to say to the user, give me the 5 number. So I'm going to say enter percentage the integer values. So this is what I'm going to say. Let me put this one, then semicolon. So this is what is the meaning of it. So let me compile it and then just show you what it is going to do. Now initially I'm going to ask the user, okay, how many integer values you want to store. If this person says I want to store 5 integer value, then I'm going to ask them, even though, sorry, this I missed this d over here. Let me put that d here. That's not the, sorry, the total here. So, otherwise that will this random number is going to come. So let me try one more time. So here I'm going to ask the user, tell me how many. So if the user says I want 5 numbers, then I'm going to ignore these 2 lines. That's not as part of the output statement. That's not really required. It is created by the code block, just to tell you how much time it took for the execution. Now here what is that I'm asking is, first I ask the user what is the total number. So in that my file that I have here, that is the number.txt. This is the file that I'm going to create very soon. So in this file, what I'm asking is how many numbers will be there, totally how many numbers you are going to store. So if the person says I want to store 5 numbers, that means I have to ask the user and ask them, okay, enter 5 integer value. So 5, any integer like 10, 20, some numbers they are going to type here. So these numbers, totally 5 numbers will be stored here. That is what I'm asking. Now the user said 5 integer value. Now I have to use a for loop to read all these 5 integer value. Let me do that thing now. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use a for loop for reading that thing. So I'm going to use the for I is equal to 0, I less than n, because I started I less than total, not n, the total, and I plus plus. So this is what I have here. So for loop. So I will run the for loop. If the total is 5, I'm going to run the for loop 5 times, and I'm going to read 5 integer values. How to read this 5 integer value, you know very well, percentage d, and I'm going to store it in the variable n. So I have 2 variables over here. One is this total, that's going to tell me how many total values that you want to store, and n will be the individual values. So if I run it now, see, remember I'm saving it. Whenever before I execute it, I know my keyboard shortcut, and the keyboard shortcut is Control plus S, CTRL plus S. So I'm pressing CTRL and S. So my hand does it automatically. So even though I don't say that thing, before I execute, I just press Control S and then proceed. So let me come out of this. So if I say 5, so total number is 5. So total number is 5. Then I'm going to type the number like 45, 67, 79, something number. I am not going to tell you that number. Just press 5 numbers and press enter. Now these numbers has to be stored in the file. How am I going to do that thing? For that, I will use the printf statement. So I'm going to say printf and I'm going to use %d/n. So this is to store every number in the one line. So I read a number and then I store, that I print that number on the screen. So let me try that thing first. Let me close this and then try it. Okay, so just run it. So I'm going to say I want 6 numbers. So this time I said 6 numbers. So some numbers I'm just randomly typing a few numbers. So it doesn't make any sense. Some numbers. So I have this 6 numbers with me. I press enter. So all these 6 numbers, I read it using the scanf statement. So I read it using the scanf statement, and then I use the printf statement to display it here. So I read 45 using scanf and I display the 45. I read 67 using the scanf and I show that 67 onto the screen. So I'm reading the number, all these numbers using the scanf, and I'm printing them separated by one line. You know this /n means the line break. So I store it, I display it one line after the other. Now this is just reading and showing it. Definitely how am I reading it is using the for loop. So I repeat this reading using the for loop, definitely. Now instead of showing it onto the screen, displaying it on the screen, I want to display it onto a file, or I want to show it onto a file. How to do that thing? For this I'm going to use the first pointer fp1, and I'm going to say fp1 is equal to, I'll use the fopen, the function fopen, and the first one is the name of the file. So the name of the file according to them is the number.txt. So let me select it, number.txt, and so that is the name of this file. And then I'm going to just close this one. This is not required. And then let me go here, and this is the name of the file. And I want to open it in the write mode. You know very well, when you open it in the write mode, if the file does not exist, the file will be created for me. Okay. And what is this that I'm typing? Give me a second. And if the file does not exist, the file will be created. And if the file already exists, it's going to delete all the content of the file and create a fresh one for you. Now, once you open this file, always remember this one. If you open a file, definitely close that file pointer. If you don't close it, it is not going to add the end of the file marker, and it's going to create a other problem to you. So I open the file here. I open this file here, and very important thing that you must do is close the file. After the usage, you close this file. So if I go to the location where I stored this file, that is the EVEN.txt. If I go to that location, you notice that the file is not there. You will notice that this is an exe file. That is whatever my C program is there, it is there in this EVEN.txt. This is the file. And what I've done is I've executed this program, and you know very well, when I execute the program, it will be converted into the machine instruction, a sort of machine instruction. And that is what is the executable file in the Windows or DOS system. And this one is the object file that is created during the compilation. So don't worry about that one. Now all of them are the C files. This is required for running the program. This is the code that you are writing, and this is you just take it as an intermediary file. But what is important to note over here is this file, that is the number.txt, is not created. So I'm going to run the program. So let me save it and then just run the program. So when I run this program, I want to show you a few things over here. So I'm going to type this thing over here, that is the total number. Let's say I'm going to input 4 characters. What is that I'm saying? 4 integers into this file. And if you look at this folder over here, and if you just look at this folder, that file, that is number.txt, is not there. Now remember, I am at this line, I'm in this line, and I have not pressed enter. That means it is still active. So I'm in the scanf statement. The minute I press enter, it's going to show me this message, that is enter 4 character, 5 character, whatever it is, and then it's going to execute this one. That is, it's going to open this number.txt file. Since this file does not exist, for the first time, since this file does not exist, it's going to create that file for me. Okay, so this is going to happen within a fraction. So you will not be, where is it gone now? Okay, you will not be able to see that thing instantly, but I'm going to just do it. Just watch what is going to happen. Remember, the minute I press the enter, you are going to see this message: enter enter 4 values, integer values, and then, or integer number, whatever you call it as. Then immediately this file will be created for me. So let me show you that thing. So I'm going to press enter now. Remember, the minute I press enter, this line will come, that is enter 4 values, and then this particular file is created. Just watch what's going to happen. I press enter now. Let me show it slightly here. I press enter now, and you notice what's going to happen. You notice that number.txt is created. So this file is created because that file did not exist. It's going to create that file. Okay. Now I can enter any number. Remember, I'm not writing anything to that file. So naturally that file will be blank. So suppose if I type any 4 numbers over here and press enter, it will, this printf statement is going to show it onto the screen. I'm not writing anything. Now if I open it in the notepad, I'm going to just double click and open and see what is there in this file. You notice that nothing is there in this file. So since the file was not there, it created that file, and this file is empty because I'm not writing it. Now I'm going to come to this point, and that is I want to write it to the file. How to do that? You know very well, printf will show it onto the screen. Printf, whatever, when you use the printf, whatever values are there, it's going to show it onto the screen. But there is a other function that is, you can use it, that is fprintf. The name itself will say what is the meaning of saying f. So f means file print. It's going to print into the file. When I say it's going to print into the file, the first thing I have to do is, this part is same, you know very well, it's going to print onto the screen. Only difference is you have to tell the to which file you have to enter. So this is going to print to a, or it's going to display to a file, but you have to specify which file. Now because I used the fp1, which is the, this is number.txt, it's going to write to that particular file. So let me run it. We save it, save this, control S to save it, and then run it. Okay, so you notice now this file already exists, and I'm not going to get any error message. So I'm going to say I will enter 3 values. Okay, and I'm going to say 20, 30, 40. I press enter, nothing is going to come onto the screen. The reason is this time I'm not using just printf statement, I'm using fprintf statement. That means I'm writing onto the file. So this, whatever I have entered here, these numbers are now printed or now stored in this file, that is fp1, the file that is pointed by fp1, and that is the number.txt. If I open this file number.txt, you will notice that all this 10, 20, 30, whatever number that I have entered here, that is 10, 20, 30, 40, is now there in this number.txt. It's there in that particular file. In other words, I have stored the content into this particular file. Now, one thing you must understand, just one other very important thing, you know very well, even though I have told you once, what is that thing is, let me close this one, is that when you open the file in the write mode, the previous content will be destroyed. Now, if you notice that even though my program has completed, my program is executed, if I open the file.txt, the previous content 10, 20, 30, 40 is there in that file. Now, suppose if I run this particular program again, And now if I give the value 5, okay, now remember I am at this line and I say the total number is 5. I press enter. I get a message, enter the total number, so enter the 5 integer values. Then what is the next line is f open number.txt. Remember the file already existed, this file was already there, so it will delete the content of that file. Now if I open this file, you will notice that it is blank. The reason is the previous content which was there has been deleted. So that is very important thing you must remember with respect to the file opening attribute W. If you open that file in the write mode, the previous content will be deleted. But so is it bad for me? The answer is no, it is not bad, because if the previous content is there, then when I run the program, my previous values will also come. I don't want that thing to come. Whatever I type now, I want it to be stored, and all the previous whatever value that I've typed, I want them to be deleted. That is why I'm opening it in the write mode. In real life, you may open it in the append mode, or many other modes are there, which you can use it for saving or retrieving or maybe retaining the old values. Now let me close this particular program, and I'm going to just say some values and are stored over here. And if I open it now, these new values will be stored in this file. Yes, whatever new values are stored in the file. So this is the first part of the program. During the examination, if you don't know anything, right up to this point, open a file and write the content into this file. Now the second thing is, from this file, so from this file, you have to read all these numbers, and if the number is odd, I have to store it in a file called as odd.txt, and if the numbers are even, I have to store it in the file called as even.txt. So I need to, first of all, remember I closed this file. I opened this file and I closed this file. Now I am going to open the file again, but this time I will have to read the content. If I open it in the write mode again, the content, all this content will be deleted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this file again. Remember, you can open the file only if it is closed once. Okay, don't try to open it. Open the already existing file. You may end up in losing all the content altogether. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say Control C to copy and Control V to paste. Now this you must get used to this. So remember these words, CTRL, that is a Control plus C to copy, and the CTRL plus V to paste. So first you copy the content, and then that is using Control C, and then paste using Control V. So this is easier and it can save a lot of time during the examination. But very important thing, this, if you just copy paste it, it will open the file in the write mode itself. Remember, for the second time you are going to open it in the read mode. Don't forget that particular thing. If you forget that thing, all the whatever that you have typed here, this number will be deleted forever. Now the two other files, if you notice that in the program they have said that there must be two other files. One is the odd and even. They are not there in this folder, so I have to create them. How to create that file you know very well. Using the write mode you can create it. So I'm not going to waste my time in typing it. Please make this habit. What I've seen in most of the students is you are a very good typist. So don't be a typist, be a developer and make use of the code that you have already typed. If you typed something, copy paste it and then make the small changes. Now what are the changes that I have to make? First thing is this file pointer 1 is already used up, so I can't make use of it. I'm going to use the second file pointer. I have 3 file pointer with me, so I'm going to use the second file pointer. So this file pointer I'm going to make use of it. And this must not point to the same file because this file is already open. So I don't want to open it again. they said that there must be two files. One is the odd file, the other one is the even file. So this file, I'm going to say it as odd file, odd.txt, okay, odd.txt, and this file is not there. So I'm going to open it in the write mode. You know what is going to happen in the write mode. If the file is not there, it's going to create it. If the file already exists, it's going to delete it content and recreate the file. This is for the odd.txt. Similarly, I want to do it one more times. So I'm going to paste it one more time, and this time I'm going to use the third file pointer, that is this file pointer. fp1 is used for the number1, number.txt. fp2, this file pointer is for the odd. The next one what they've said is this file name is even.txt. I'm going to just copy paste it because I'm used to it. So I will paste it. So the first file is the number.txt, that is first pointer. Second pointer is the odd.txt. The third pointer is even.txt. Three things are there. Remember, out of them, since this file is already there, number.txt is already there and it already has some numbers inside it, I'm going to read the content. Other two files did not exist yet, so I'm going to create those files. Even if it existed, I'm going to delete all its content and I'm going to create a fresh file. Very, very important thing is that once you open a file, don't forget this part, close the file. So close this file, Control C and Control V. I'm using it Control C and Control V, so that remember that this is very easiest option. Three files are opened. FP1, FP2, FP3 is opened. FP3, FP1, FP2 and FP3 is closed. Three files opened and three files are closed. In between you do anything. So whatever file you open, close those files. In between, what is that you are supposed to do? You are going to remember these are in the write mode, so you can only write to that. This is in the read mode, so start reading the content from this file. Read one line at a time. From this, read one line at a time. How do you read one line? So you know you can use the, generally you use the scanf statement, but we are going to use the scanf because we want to read it from the file. Now, how long you are going to read the content? Until all the contents are read. That means until the end of the file, you're going to start reading it. So start reading it until you reach the end of the file. So that is simple as that. So how do you write that statement? So I'm going to say while, okay, I'm going to use the while loop, and I'm going to read the content from the file. How do you read it? So remember how to read it using the scanf statement. You are all familiar with this scanf statement. So let me write this scanf statement first. How do you read one content from this or one line from the file? Is very simple. You use scanf. This is you are familiar, scanf. This is the general one. How do you read it? Scanf %d, okay, and I'm going to read it back to the n here. Same thing. How do you read it? Well, how do you read it from the keyboard? Is this one. Now this time I don't want to read it from the keyboard. I want to read it from this file. I want to read it from this file. So I'm going to use scanf. F is there. As usual, for the fprint, you said from which file. Similarly, when I say fscanf, I want to read it from the file. Which is that file? Remember, this file is open for read access. The number.txt is opened in the read mode. Other two are in the write mode, so I can't read the content from it. I can only write to them file. So I'm going to say, the first thing I'm going to say is fp1. What is the meaning of saying fp1? Is I want to read from this file, that is the file that is being pointed by this fp1, that is number.txt. Now how long I have to keep on reading? I have to keep on reading until I encounter end of file. Remember, this is a marked constant which you can always use it. So I have to start reading it until I go to the end of this file. So until I reach the end of the file, I have to keep on reading it. Now generally you use the while loop like this, but there is no need to put that flower bracket. So nowadays I feel like a bit afraid of asking you to put the flower bracket, because you will open too many flower bracket, but you forget to close too many flower brackets. So the only thing that you are going to get is error message. Either you have closed, you have too many closing flower brackets, or you have too many open flower bracket. Remember, whenever you open a flower bracket, just keep the mouse pointer here, and it's going to show where that bracket is closing. If I keep my mouse pointer, if I click on this point, it's going to show me where that thing is closing. If you notice over here, this is closing here. So this is the easiest way to figure out where the flower brackets are closing. Okay, so if I keep it here, it's going to say where this flower bracket is going to close. Now let's go ahead and let's do that thing. So what I'm doing is, every time when this while loop executes, I'm going to read one numbers from this file. So the first number that I'm reading, this number, I'm going to store that number. So what is this scanf is doing? It is generally reading from your keyboard, but this time it is, because it is fscanf, it's going to read it from this number.txt. This number will be stored in this variable, that is n. So now I have to bother about this n. Now I have to find out whether n is even or odd. If n is even, store it in the even file. If n is odd, store it in the odd file. So how do I check whether n is even or not? You know very well. So you take this n mod 2. If it is equal to 0, that means this number is divisible by 2. The number that is divisible by 2 is a even number. So I'm going to print it not onto the screen, but to the file 1. So I'm going to use this line. I'm going to use Control C, and I'm going to use Control V to paste it. Now this is not to the file 1. Look at here, which this F2 is for odd, F3 is for even. So I'm going to write to the even. So if it is a even, how do I know that it is a even? If the number is divisible by 2, that means it is a even number. Then I'm going to store this n. So I'm going to store this n in which file? In the file pointed by the fp3. What is fp3 is pointing to? This is pointing to a file called as even.txt. So that will be stored in a file called as even.txt. Again, if you notice over here, because I copy pasted it, it will store every number in one line. You know very well, /n means new line. Okay, this is for the even number. That means if the number is divisible by 2. What if the number is not divisible by 2? If the number is not divisible by 2, I'm going to copy this one, Control C and Control V. Now I'm going to store that number not in the fp3, which is this odd file. Odd file is pointed to by 2. So I'm going to store it in the second file. So this is what I'm doing it. Now you must understand one thing over here is that this flower bracket is not required. Okay, so be careful. If you put nothing, is going to the C will not complain you, but this is not really required. You can omit that flower bracket, because there is inside this while loop there is only one if statement. Okay, it is not really required. We have one statement. The most common error that the student will do during the practicals as well as during the examination is putting a semicolon here. Remember, if you put the semicolon here, this while loop will end in this line only. Okay, this will be considered as a separate line. Even if you put the flower bracket, this will be even if you say that no, I'm going to put the flower bracket here, and let me drag it here, and if you say that this is how it's going to appear, it is not going to work out. This will be considered as one compound statement. That's it. It has nothing to do with the while loop, because you close this while loop here by putting a semicolon. So be extremely careful when you are using for loop or anything. After the while and after the for, there is no semicolon. So remember that thing. This is the most simple mistake the students are doing, and you find that it is not working, and sometimes you end up in an infinite loop because of putting a semicolon at the wrong place. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and let's see whether with this are we going to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So let me go ahead and let me save. I'm using Control S to save it. Let me run it. Okay. Let me run this file, and I'm going to just close this number.txt. So I have this number.txt. I'm going to enter 4 numbers here, and I'm going to type 2 integer number and 2 even number and 2 odd number. This is even, this is odd, this is even, this is odd. You know very well. 4 is a even number, 3 is odd number, 6 is a even number, 7 is odd number. This will be, now before I press enter, you notice that I'm in the reading stage. I'm here now. If I go to the my program where I've stored this content, you have only number.txt, because I've not encountered this part. The minute I press enter, it's going to read all this content. If I open this file, you notice that it is blank now, because I opened it in the write mode. This file is opened in the write mode, and I have not yet gone through this line. I'm not yet executed. I have not pressed enter. The minute I press enter, all these numbers, whatever I typed, will be stored in the number.txt. Currently, this number.txt is where is this mouse point? Is blank. It will be filled with the numbers that I have typed, and then immediately it's going to go and open this in the read mode. It will close the file, that number.txt, open it in the read mode, and it's going to create 2 other files. Okay, and then store the even number in the even file and the odd number in the odd file. So this will happen instantly, because you know very well, this is machine is going at much faster rate. So I'm going to just open this one for you, just to show that the minute I press enter, it will close this file number.txt, and it will write all the content. Whatever I've typed will be written here, and then it's going to create 2 different files. So see it in the action. I'm going to just press enter. Remember, it will create 2 different files. So the 2 files are not there. Let me just show it here, and I press enter. The minute I press enter, you notice that it created 2 other files. Just let me bring it here. So even.txt, and what it has done is it has read all the numbers that I've typed, which are these numbers 4, 3, 6. All of them are there in this number.txt. Number.txt contains these 4, 3, 6, 7, 4, 3, 6, 7 in one line. Because why it is one line? Because I've used /n, new line separator. So every time I'm writing it in the new line. And what is this? I'm doing it. I'm separating the even content into the even file and the odd content into the odd file. So if I open this even and even.txt, you will notice that it has only the even numbers. So out of the, where is this numbers? Out of these numbers, that is the total numbers, even numbers are there in the even file. And if I open the odd, you will notice that odd will contain, let me go over here and minimize this one, and odd will be there in the odd file. So these odd numbers are there in the odd file. So this is what I have done. So I have stored all the content in the number.txt, and then I have separated out the even into the even file, odd into the odd file. This is done. Now once this is done, the last part is, remember, you have to close all the 3 files, reopen this all the 3 files in the read mode. Don't open it in the write mode, reopen them in the read mode, and then show the content into the screen. So that is what you're going to do it. I'm going to open it again. Remember, don't be a typist. Control C to copy it and Control V to paste. So open this file in the read mode, open the second file in the read mode, open the third file in the read mode. All the three files are opened in the read mode, and then one file at a time you start showing the content. I'm going to use a printf statement just to show which file I'm reading. So the first file that I'm going to read, I will use the /n here so that it will come one line after the other. The first file is the number. I'm going to just type this NUMBER number.txt. This is the first file. I'll put remember I'm putting extra space here so that it will come in the next line. So I mean one line separated. This is the first line's content, and I'm going to use the while loop. So I will use this while, and what is that I'm supposed to do is I have to read from this file. So read from the file, you have the fscanf. Which file? The first one, that is the first file is the number.txt. Remember fp1 is for the that. I'm reading that file, and I will read a integer value %d, and I'm going to store that in the n. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I will continue until I reach the end of the file. I'm reading it from the file. I'm reading it from this file. So I will read one integer value at a time until I reach the end of the file. This is what I'm going to do it. So until I reach the end of file, I'm supposed to read it. So I open this file, that is the fp1, and I read one numbers from that file. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use the printf, and I'm going to show that thing onto the screen. So I'm going to use you know very well, printf is going to show the content. What is this %d? Remember, I'm putting one space here. Remember, put one space here, otherwise what it's going to come is your numbers. When as you start reading this number, if you don't put the space, what is going to appear on the screen is it's going to appear like 4367. This is 4367. This is not the one. This is 4, next number is 3, next number is 6, next number is 7. There is a space between the numbers. So can you make out that? And that space you have to maintain here. So how do I do that thing is, after this %d, I have put a space here. So this you have to do it, otherwise the numbers will come touching one another. So you read one number and then show it, because there is remember, some students are happy by putting it in the while loop like this. Here some students are happy because they can see that this is the while loop, this is part of the while loop. Other students are also happy with that, but they just forget to close the flower bracket. So I'm going to assume that on the good and bad students, both will be happy by not putting the flower bracket. In fact, if you are so much concerned, you can actually bring it here. Okay, on the same line you can write it, but just for brevity I will just put it onto the next line, because pressing enter, I don't think so, will take a lot of time during the examination. So this is for the first file. Let's do the same thing for the second file. Again, let me remind you, don't be a typist, be a programmer, and use the Control C, select everything, use the mouse, select everything, Control C, press enter, Control V to paste it. Second file name is odd.txt. So this is what it should appear. I'm going to just change it. So this is for the second file, odd.txt. Second file is pointed by fp2, not fp1. So I'm going to just make it as fp2. That's for the second file. Again, control selected, Control C and Control V. And this is for the third file. The name of the third file is Control C and Control V. So this is much easier. Third file is pointed by fp3. So third file is pointed by fp3. That is done. But very important thing, whenever you open a file, close it. So I'm going to select this one, the one that I've typed already, Control C to copy it, and I go here and then close it. So the file that I'm opening has to be closed. That's very critically important. If you don't close it, your file may become unreadable. Generally it is not, but the Windows or any other window-based programs, if you use Notepad or any other file, it will try to predict that the file has ended at the end. Okay, but anyhow, as a good programmer, you are supposed to close this program, and this is the end of the main. Remember, always just put the mouse pointer here and you see a blue colored dot, and just go out and see whether it is closing of the main. If it's closing of some while loop, that means you've done a mistake, and then check for the proper closing bracket. So let's go ahead and let's run it. I'm going to just close it, and then I'm going to run it. Okay, this time I will not open the file and show it. I'm going to, where is this, what is the happening here now? This is a very good thing that has happened, and that is sometime what happens is when you run this particular thing over here, you notice that a block has come, but you cannot read the error message. So this generally it has happened. The minute you have this situation, that means somebody has closed that window. So how do you get that window? You just go to this view, and in this view, go for this log. The keyboard shortcut is F2. Okay, so you click on this, and if you don't see that message, let me show it here. If you don't see the message, okay, so this is what it should appear. So this is what is the problem. So here you notice that there is some problem. Expected closing bracket somewhere. It is saying that you not closed the bracket somewhere. So this is where you are saying somewhere expecting a closing character here and there and so on and so forth. So somewhere I missed this one. Now generally what happens is some student when they are typing, they just close this one. Maybe your friends who are from the previous batch, they might have closed this, and you get your program is not running. You see this one, and you don't know what is the problem with this one. What is the problem here? So you just go here. Don't worry, don't yell at them. Just go here and just click on this log, and the log will appear, and then see what is the error in the blue color, in the green color. Click on it, and it's going to show you where you have done the mistake. And if you notice there, I have unfortunately closed, put the double quotes in between. So that is what has happened, and that is why it just said that no, that's not correct. You are not supposed to do it. So maybe as I talk and do it, I may do some mistake, and it is good that this problem has appeared. Let me run it, and this time, if the program is running without any problem, you don't learn anything. Okay. If the program gets stuck, then you have to scratch your head and you have to use all your senses to figure out what is going wrong. So always when you're doing the practical, always don't pray to God that let it work. Always pray to God during the practical. Always pray to God that let the program hang in between so that I will learn something. And definitely during the examination, when you go to the examination, pray to God that the program is not going to hang, because you are writing the examination. Otherwise, the more the program get stuck, you will learn many things about the programming language and the IDE and so on and so forth. Okay, so without wasting much of your time, let me enter 5 numbers. So I said total number is 5. So 45, 66, 90 and 101. So 5 numbers are required. Okay, 125. Okay, done. I press enter, and what is happening here? What is happening? Number.txt, it has just come, and something has terribly went wrong. Let's see what is that. It just said odd.txt. This is it. I'm trying to read it from the odd.txt. Let's see what is the problem. Let me fix it up. So what is the problem that I'm facing is very simple. As I talk, I told you, I sometimes forget. And what I've forgotten is in the scanf statement, you have to put ampersand. It is the address of. Okay, so address of n, address of n, address of n. So you know very well. You are all familiar. Forget that f. Without that f, the scanf is percentage n. So I just forgot as I talk. Sometimes I just forget. So just put for the scanf percentage n, and percentage n. I did it here properly in the first one, but in the second step or maybe, and also I copy pasted it. So naturally that mistake happened at 3 different places. Let me run it and let me quickly type the numbers. So I'm going to type 5 numbers. So let me say 16, 35, 46, 71 and 100. You press enter and you notice that I'm able to read the content because I use the percentage n, and this is the content, total content. I'm going to just open all the 3 files for understanding. So this is the first file, even file, the odd file, and all the files. I'm going to open it. If you look at the even file, let me put it over here. So the total numbers that I've typed is this one, 16, and you notice that 16 is here, 35, not this one, 16 is here, 35 is here, and so on up to 100 I have read. So all these numbers I have put it in the number.txt, and this number.txt content is read again and shown 16, 35, 46, 71. That is the end of the number one. Let me go to the odd file. What is there in this odd file? Let me just show this odd file now. So what is there in this odd file? Out of this odd numbers are, out of 16, 35 is an odd number and it is there in this odd file, and 71 is the odd number and it is there. And if I try to display it back again, if I read it back again, and you notice that odd.txt file, this is the content of this odd.txt file. So that is done. Let's go to the even.txt file. So this even.txt file, all the files are here. I've opened it by double clicking on it. So even.txt file, out of this where is this output gone? Out of this numbers that were fed in, 16 is an even number and it is there, 46 is an even number and it is there, 100 is an even number and it is there. And if I read it back from this file, you notice that these numbers from the even.txt are read back. So this is the program that you are supposed to do it. That's all in this program. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the other exercise. Thank you.